everyone! So sometimes I'll find something that sparks like a little bit of interest in me, like I'll be like, oh, that's kind of cool, and then suddenly it's my obsession and it's all I care about and I want to read as much about it as I can, and it's what brings me joy. And right now, that's Nonstandard McDonald's. I'm wearing my burger shirt from, this is from Ocean and Space. You can't really see it for the video, but please know it's there. I also have boba tea earrings. I'm going for a food theme. So what do I mean by a non-standard McDonald's? A standard McDonald's is one that is created or renovated to match the current franchise branding. So typically right now they look like this. Of course, this has changed over the years, and basically the fact of the matter is they're not super exciting. When you see a McDonald's, you typically know exactly what it is. When you enter it, you know where you are. You're in McDonald's. Now, the current McDonald's branding really started in about 2010. That's when they started kind of modernizing the look, you know, getting rid of the nylon-y chairs and making everything really white for some reason. And with franchises in general, it's really important to have unifying branding because you want to make sure that people do recognize and know, hey, when I go to this McDonald's, I'm going to be able to get what I expect. But this is boring. I don't want this. I want weird McDonald's. Because you see, the thing with McDonald's is a good chunk of them are privately owned. Food Theory now actually has a really good video about how McDonald's isn't like 100% a fast food company, and really it's more of a company around selling land, which is interesting, and land ownership. I don't know. They do a good job in that video talking about that. That's not the point of today's video. Today's video is about McDonald's that don't have the current branding, that are more interesting than that. And when I say more interesting, I mean more interesting than that one McDonald's that has the teal arches, because everyone's fucking seen that. We can do better. Today we are going to be highlighting some non-standard McDonald's that tickled my brain. These were all collected by the Twitter account Nonstandard McDonald's, or Nonstandard MCD. Please follow them on Twitter. I found them completely by chance. There are more exciting McDonald's than the Teal Arches McDonald's. Let me tell you about them. Also, this. Okay, let's go. Now, I've broken this down into a couple of different categories. The first category is, this was not always a McDonald's, but it is now. So the first one on here is what I kind of think really started bringing up the conversation around non-standard McDonald's, and this is the Denton house. This has been a McDonald's since 1991, and it is in New Hyde Park, Long Island. This was originally a farmhouse constructed in 1795. The building this McDonald's is in is more than 200 years old. Oh my god. It kind of, you know, it has interesting vibes. It feels like it should be a different restaurant inside there, but it's a McDonald's. The next one, you know, not the most exciting either, but interesting nonetheless, is the Freeport McDonald's. Now, this is in Freeport, Michigan, I think? M-E? What state is that? Mary's bad at states. This one exists because Freeport has really strict building codes. That's kind of a common theme with some of these, like, was a house, now isn't, or even some of the, like, newer McDonald's, is just that the building codes for the area are really strict in terms of aesthetics of the building. So when McDonald's wanted to bring a franchise here, they bought a house and renovated into a McDonald's. Now, this one has the most I'm breaking and entering vibes, as well as general, like, old folks' home. I don't know, that's the vibe I get from it looking at these tables. I'm like, I imagine old people here. And now we're gonna get exciting. Airplane McDonald's. Airplane McDonald's. This is in New Zealand too, which is extra fun because I'm like, what do they sell at McDonald's in New Zealand? Is it different? Is it the same? Well, basically the backstory with this one is originally this property was a car dealership that purchased a retired airplane. They were called the Airplane Car Company, and then McDonald's bought the property. The plane was included with the property, and so they renovated it into an eating space for a McDonald's. You can just eat in a plane. That's so fun. That's so weird and fun. I want to eat in a plane. And the last one for this category, there are, you know, a number of other ones that fit into this, but the last one I want to highlight is just like a beautiful building that's now a McDonald's. A couple different ones could fit into that. This one specifically is the Bray Town Hall McDonald's. This is in Ireland. Beautiful building, has stained glass windows. Look at the clock tower. Look at the fountain out front. Is a McDonald's. It's such a beautiful building. And I have really mixed feelings about this specific category because in some ways I'm like, well, they're still preserving the building in a sense. Like, these buildings are not lost to time, they're not being deconstructed in any way, but at the same time it is kind of sad to see these historical buildings used as McDonald's. There's something about that that feels so very capitalistic, and it's not exclusive to the United States, obviously, but like, this is definitely from capitalism. Part of me is like, I really wish that we could do more to, you know, actually protect and preserve these homes and buildings and have them be historical monuments, but like, that's just not the world we live in. Next category, lost to time. Why was that hard to say? Lost to time. These are McDonald's that are deceased, or aspects of them are deceased. And we're starting out with one of the most interesting ones, which is the McThriller. So the building this existed in still, I think, runs as a McDonald's, but this aspect is gone, which was a motion simulator ride. A couple different McDonald's around the US had a motion simulator ride in them. Now, the evidence I have of this actually existing, because there are no photos inside the rides, and I don't even think there are any photos of the ride mechanism, but there's an LA Times article about it from 1993, and in it they write that the 14-seat ride simulates 10 different adventures, among them speeding down a city street on a motorcycle, gliding above the countryside in an ultralight aircraft, and making a bobsled run. The ride, which costs $2.50, lasts between 2.5 and 3 minutes. It combines film footage shown on the large screen with sound and movement to give the illusion of speed and motion. It sounds like it was really well received. I'm guessing it was probably way too expensive to maintain, because, fun fact, the ride system used for this is by the same company that made Star Tours. This is the same ride system as Star Tours. It's just a Star Tours that was made for a random McDonald's franchise, which is wild. I wish I could ride on this, and I hope ride footage exists of this somewhere or is found one day, because I want to see it so bad. I want to exist in the McThriller. Let me ride the McThriller. So next is one that I've personally been to. Wow, Mary's gone to a non-standard McDonald's. This is the McDonald's that was in the National Air and Space Museum in Washington, D.C. Going to Washington, D.C. was one of the most positive experiences of my childhood. I loved it there. What can I say? I exist in the world. Basically, the Air and Space Museum had this huge McDonald's in it. I thought for some reason that it was either one of the biggest in the US or it was one of the busiest in the US. That's not true anymore, at least. It's also not a McDonald's anymore. For some reason I was really sure at that time that it was. It's just this giant McDonald's. It kind of has similar to how like Disneyland food places work, where there's a bunch of multiple lines and they have all the like signs up. I'm trying my best to describe this. It's no longer a McDonald's anymore, but at one point it was just a giant McDonald's, and you'd have like entire classrooms that were on field trips going through at once, and I want to see the chaos. So I would not want to work there. My God, imagine working there. Next is another one that I haven't been to, but is fairly close to me, and this is the McBarge. I feel like most people have heard of this, maybe not, maybe this is just me, but the McBarge was created for Expo 86 in Vancouver. Its original name is Friendship 500, which like, it's the future, my friends, and the future is friendship. So again, this was constructed for Expo 86 in Vancouver, and Expo 86 in Vancouver in general is kind of interesting in that it had some like pretty strong effects on the price of property and housing in Vancouver, and I might be remembering things wrong, but I'm pretty sure it's what led to a lot of the housing issues that exist in Vancouver right now in terms of pricing, which I won't get too deep into this, and if I'm wrong, correct me, but like, that could be a story for another time. Let's talk about Vancouver. This was the second floating McDonald's location. Apparently the first was in St. Louis, Missouri. I don't know about that one. But it was intended to showcase the future of technology and architecture, which is really ironic because it was never used again after Expo 86 by McDonald's. They created it and then they left it on the water abandoned. Spooky. Basically, it was left empty on the water for a super long time, and eventually they moved it from Vancouver to Maple Ridge. So it got too expensive to leave on the water, and people were like, this thing is like decaying. please move it. It was used as a set for the Blade Trinity movie. It was like the bad guy's hideout, which is kind of cool. Like, I approve of that use. And then it was supposed to be turned into a like activity center or some attraction called the Deep Discover Center. That was in 2017. Nothing's happened with it since. So like, we don't know. We don't know what's going to happen with the McBarge, the Happiness 500. But I'm sure they got to get rid of it at some point. That thing was sitting on the water for 30 years. Like, I don't think it's doing too well. This one could almost fit into the next category, but it deserves to be in here because it is no longer with us. It is lost to time, and it is the giant Happy Meal branding McDonald's in Dallas. I don't actually know if this is giant, but the branding is giant. Look at this. They created this. Someone put the work and money into creating this building and making it look like this, and they decided to remodel it. That is like upsetting to me. I'm like physically upset. According to some article I read online, it had Australian crystal chandeliers, Ralph Lauren wallpaper, granite floors, mahogany booths, and a playroom. Don't know if any of that's true. If so, like, is Dallas super bougie? It's so weird. But also, I was reading about it on a blog called Eyes on Texas, which I think is a blog dedicated to different kind of like locations in Texas you could go to. And apparently the blog was so popular with people visiting Texas that even up to 2019, people were reading about this location, going to it, and then discovering it was remodeled and being very sad about it. So the owner of the franchise had to email the blog and be like, hey, we love that you loved how this place used to look, but like, please update your blog because people are coming here and getting mad at us because we don't look like that anymore, which is crazy. Like, you had such a beautiful thing and you got rid of it. But if you're still in Dallas, don't worry, because apparently you had two amazing McDonald's at the same time. Who gave you the right? Apparently, they also have this Zoo McDonald's, which is still active and zoo themed. So if you live in Dallas, not all is lost. Last one for this category are the Bistro Gourmet McDonald's. Now again, these buildings aren't like gone, but either I think most of them have been remodeled or the offerings have changed. So basically what the Bistro Gourmet McDonald's was having a building that was not only a regular McDonald's, but also a slightly more higher end, kind of like Panera Bread or even dialed up a little higher than that vibe restaurant. So parents could go in, get their Happy Meals right away for their kids, and then put an order in for like a panini or a fancy salad or something like that, and then wait, you know, a little bit longer while that's prepared. Their kids can eat, they get a nice espresso, some gourmet ice cream, and then their order is served on some white china. What a concept. As far as I can tell, this was more popular in Florida. I think there were like 10 locations down there. Again, it's not impossible for different franchises to serve different things just because franchises can be privately owned. So it's the variability, totally possible. I think it's less popular with most franchises now. Most of them are really just sticking to the menu, but again, it's not entirely impossible that different places serve different things. Just I'm pretty sure the bistro menu is just completely gone to time. Our last category is just interesting theming. Now, some of the above could fit into this, but you know, let's just highlight. We're gonna go on a quick tour of some of these. So our first one is the Gondola McDonald's. This one is in North Conway, New Hampshire. I literally forgot the state of New Hampshire exists until recently, so like, sorry y'all. But this is a skiing themed McDonald's. So they have gondolas that you can sit in and had like skiing themed signs on the bathrooms. Okay, I'm not against it, it's just, this next one is, I believe a crime took place when this one was removed. Not really, but this is the, let me get the name that they named it on the Twitter, the Undersea Surf Rock Dinosaur McDonald's from Sacramento, California. I'm sorry, but look at this. Look at all the elements, the undersea, the rock star dinosaur, like the lighting. This was amazing. Why do people not, like, there is no way a kid wouldn't go in here and be like, man, this is sick. Like, even if you're a teenager, I feel like I would have been like, I was a weird teenager, but also, like, I feel like I would have been like, you know, this is kind of cool. I gotta admit, apparently the dinosaur's name was Elvisaurus, and someone made a, like, change.org to not have it removed when they renovated the location, which was not successful. Elvisaurus is no more. a major loss, I feel. So next we have not one, but 2 UFO McDonald's. The first one still exists today and is still running, and you guessed it, it is in Roswell, of course, alien capital of the United States. I just love the lighting on this one. Again, I think this is super fun. I love the theming. Let's make it a little UFO. That's cute. That's kish. We like it. The other one was in England, apparently. I don't know, this is Cambridgeshire? This no longer exists. I'm interested in its origins. I don't have them. I didn't actually look it up before this video, but I don't know, just like, are aliens a thing there? Is that a thing? Anyone know? Okay. And my last one, really, for this category is in Florida, and this is the Undersea McDonald's. And this just has an underwater theme. And my question is, who is designing these murals? They look on brand, like these match McDonald's branding, from what I can tell. It's not like some random person is coming out and painting them. So I'm like, was McDonald's making these and being like, this is optional, and someone was like, fuck yes? Or was someone just being like, I'm independent. I want to create the content I want to create. What we lose to standardization. Standardized tests are also a crime, but we don't have to go into that. So ends our non-standardized McDonald's tour. Thank you all so much for coming on this adventure with me. I hope it was fun for you. I hope you learned something. And if you have photos of your own non-standardized McDonald's, locally to you or not, send them to the Twitter so that I can enjoy them later. Please. Please make content for me to enjoy now. I have done this for you. So that's the end of my show. I stream sometimes, so make sure you follow me on Twitter and Discord and Twitch to figure out when I'm streaming, and then join me for the streams. If you enjoyed this video, feel free to give it a like. Tell me in the comments if you want me to do more stuff like this, or if you've been to a non-standard McDonald's. Oh my god, tell me in the comments if you've been to a non-standard McDonald's. I need to know. Subscribe if you want to see more. Tell me what type of videos you want to see from me, and I will see you all next time. Bye-bye.